West Ham are looking to heap more misery on Manchester United at the London Stadium on Saturday afternoon. After a brief run of 3 victories from 3, Jose Mourinho's side were given a firm reality check last weekend against Wolves. On top of that, they faced elimination in the League Cup from Derby County, Mr. Certain Frank Lampard. A bit of turmoil's happening at Old Trafford just now. The Pogba versus Mourinho situation's kicking in. Look, straight over to you. Is that something that West Ham need to take advantage of? The Pogba Mourinho saga?
Yes, but we probably won't, because that's what West Ham do. It could be right there in front of us.
You are right miserable.
I'm not miserable, I'm just stating facts, mate. So, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But a lot of stats, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Clearly there's something, like, as everyone said, Mourinho's 3rd year, something goes wrong. It seems to be kind of doing all right for a couple of weeks, first sort of start of the season, and now, I don't know, no one really knows, to be honest with you, what's going on between them two. The press don't know. The press have just seen a video, and they've seen a bit of talking here and there, but no one actually knows what's going wrong.
But on that though, and I'll pass this to you, Richard, when you look at the video, it looks like there's something blatantly wrong. That's not banter. That's awkwardness to a fucking high degree.
Yeah, I guess so, but I can't really read too much into the video personally. I didn't see that much wrong with it. But I think the whole Mourinho Pogba saga has been bubbling over for months, and it's been threatening to boil over. And the fact that he stripped him of the vice captaincy, and now this video has come out, I think there's huge rubbish happening in that camp, and that's, I think, for us a massive positive, because now we can hopefully use that to our advantage and prey on any problems that may be happening behind closed doors and at United. And I think it might just be a good time for us to play them. So yeah, I think we need to make the most of that. And for me, Pogba is an important player for them. So if one of their best players is fighting with the manager, 2 massive personalities, then let's prey on that.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, at West Ham, we've played 3 and we're unbeaten in 3. We've scored 11 goals and conceded 1. 8 goals last night against Macclesfield. Comparison of opposition, look, bottom of League 2 compared to Manchester United. How do West Ham take the last 3 results going into the Manchester United game at home on Saturday afternoon?
Well, we should be full of confidence, we should be buzzing, but at the same time there needs to be kind of a reality check, which I think we kind of, last night, well, saying reality check, we don't normally put 8 goals past anyone, to be honest with you, and last night was amazing, actually, taking the mighty Macclesfield on and doing it, which is not disrespectful. I mean, it is, but I don't want to be. But it's just one of them things. That is the biggest confidence booster we could have in a game that really kind of meant not nothing to us, but I thought, well, we can use that to push us on. The win against Everton, the draw against Chelsea, that's already a good enough booster. I think we could have beaten Chelsea as well if Yarmolenko stuck his header away, which I still can't believe he missed. I don't think even he can. But
Square.
It's kind of like, I know it's a beard. It's kind of like everything's going a bit too well at West Ham, results wise and opposition wise. Man United are sort of self-destructing at the minute. And that could either be good or that could be bad if they start turning it around in the next couple of days. The only bad thing at the moment, which is a completely different subject, but there is always something that brings West Ham back down to reality, is the Rice and the contract situation, which I won't go on about right now, but I'll say, but at the minute, apart from that, it all seems quite rosy. Hopefully, if Anatovich passes a late fitness test and he starts, it's even more rosier. So at the minute, we have to just take the boost of confidence, the 8 goals, and maybe put, 9 past Man United if we're feeling like
There's no ifs or buts about it. A lot of people could maybe slag West Ham off for being, blasé, confident, etc. about after the result last night. But scoring 8 goals, it doesn't matter what team you're playing, it's always going to boost your confidence. It's a competitive match, it's not a pre-season friendly, and that's the thing I take from it. And I think I mentioned to you guys last night, it's a mix of the experienced players mixing it with the youth and players that are desperate to get an opportunity to play in the first team. And that's really what you want in your squad, when previous squads, it's been players or the youth players have been thrown under the bus because they've put 11 youth out against a a professional side that are used to playing, with one another. So for me, it's a great confidence boost. But when we look at the head-to-head against Manchester United, Richard, you mentioned it earlier on. I've found some stats here. It's going to be the 140th competitive clash between the two. Manchester United winning 65 and West Ham with 43 wins. We'll never forget that last game at the Upton Park, Richard. Moving into this game, what players have impressed you, and what players will we see any big changes? Arnautovic is maybe back. Hernandez has hopefully been training this week.
We'll see a lot of changes, obviously, from the team that played against Macclesfield, which was a mixture of youth and experience. But I don't think he'll change much from the Everton and Chelsea games, to be honest. Only real change I can see happening is Arnie coming back into the side. Fingers crossed he stays fit and he can play that game, which I think it looks like he will be playing. So that's a massive, massive bonus for us. But otherwise, I think he'll keep that same back four that he's played with, three centre midfielders. We've looked much more solid with Rice, Obiang and Noble in the middle. And then Yarmolenko and Anderson to partner Arnie. Yeah, so I don't think he'll change much. We've looked much, much better the last few games. So why change a team that's performing well?
Absolutely. Players to keep an eye out for. It looks like Luke Shaw is going to be returning for Manchester United. I think we lost Rich there. If we have, it's okay. We'll continue. Luke Shaw's returning for Manchester United. He's done well to come back from one of the worst injuries we've probably witnessed in modern days. Obviously, with all the problems at Pogba, it looks like Marcus Rashford has served his ban. Who are the players that we fear the most?
To be honest with you, I think it's probably, for me, probably the quickest players. I think I'd say Pogba will no doubt be trying to run the game in the midfield. But, he slipped up for Wolves' equaliser in their last game when he tried to do a bit of skill and got caught out. But he's one of the players that, when he turns up, he can be instrumental for them. But he's one of them players as well who just decides when to turn up and when not to turn up. You've also got, blocks of Martial, Rashford up top. Luke Shaw is obviously, a good player. But then I don't think any of their players are performing or any better than the Chelsea players we had to go up against who are banging form. So we can be worried about other players to look out for. But I think right now we need to actually, we spent 100 million this summer, and most of our players are now starting to click, starting to gel, starting to perform well. So actually, I think this time round, but with Man United's situation, we need to think, well, how can we hurt them? It's not their players. What can we do to get at them?
Yeah, and we are going to be breeding confidence. Like I mentioned to you, we've had 3 games unbeaten, which is something, considering we lost all the first 4 games of the season. Today, it got announced that Carlos Sanchez has picked up an injury. It looks like a minimum. They haven't had the full-blown confirmation, but it's something to do with his medial ligament, so it could be a minimum of 2 months out, and maybe maybe longer, maybe to the end of the season. Hopefully not so much. But is that something that's going to impact us, or are we relying so much on that midfield presence from Declan Rice and the Mark Noble combination that Richard mentioned before he left?
Is this to Richard or to me?
That's to you.
To me?
Yep.
To be honest with you, Sanchez is a bit of a weird player. He's come in and he's done all right, but then he's also done quite poor as well. For example, the mistake against Wolves, I think when he come on against, I think it was Everton, he looked a little bit clueless when he come on. He hasn't had much of a stab, starting many games and what have you. But in my opinion, I think we should be able to deal with the fact that he might not be, in the team any longer. We've got a good triple threat in the middle with Rice, Obiang and Noble. How long Noble's going to be able to stay, performing at a top level is a different matter altogether. But I think Rice and Obiang on their own, personally, if we started to put maybe an attacking midfielder in there more, I think Obiang and Rice are more capable of doing the defensive midfield duties just on their own. So I'm not particularly worried that Sanchez has gone. Disappointed for him. Maybe he recovers and comes back soon enough. But no, I think Rice and Obiang are more than capable of doing the job personally.
And on the Mark Noble situation, is this just a typical Mark Noble season? He comes in and out of the side. He performs really well. And you mentioned there, we don't know how long this will last for, but maybe he's rejuvenated under a Pellegrini regime. Is that something we need to keep an eye out for? People are people are just absolutely tearing him apart on social media, but you can't fault his last couple of performances for the club.
No, but that's what he does. Noble, he turns up, gives his all. But the problem is when you've got a player like that, he can burn out sometimes.
Yeah,
it's probably whether he can go. If he can go a couple of games on top form, brilliant. It's whether he can go 5 games, 7 games, 10 games, and then you start to think of, well, is he going to get knackered? Is he going to put too much passion and effort in? And that's when you probably think, well, actually, maybe he needs to bring him as a sub. Maybe use him for the cup games for a little while or something like that, you know? So he's one of the sort of players where it's fine having a passion and that sort of stuff like that. But when you physically can't handle a certain amount of games, it gets a bit of a worry. But hopefully he can. And if he does come in, he does the job that we all know he can do, which is where he throws himself about, puts himself about, you know, wears the heart in his sleeve and all sorts of stuff like that. But technically, I just think that I wouldn't rely too much on Noble personally. I thank him for doing the job he's doing. He's the captain, team talk wise, etc., etc. But for me, if you talk about ability wise, I think Obiang and Rice have got it covered. You know, no disrespect to Noble at all. But for me, Rice and Obiang are not, well, maybe not Obiang, but definitely Rice is certainly the future. So if Noble is going to come out, is it perfect for Rice to go, hold on, if you're going out, I'll take your spot, mate.
Yeah.
I'll improve and I'll go from there.
I'd say something that I am noticing a lot of, and I don't know if that's, well, it is, even if it's on and off the field, but the influence that Mark Noble has, being the local lad, the West Ham through his blood, claret and blue veins, etc. Either way, I didn't realise how important players were, even in the changing room, possibly until this debate is continuing about Mark Noble for maybe the past couple of seasons, and it looks like he's such an influential squad member that you just want in and around that squad week in and week out, whether he plays, whether he sits on the bench. So for me, yeah, you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Looking forward to seeing what he can do against Manchester United. He always raises his levels against the bigger sides. So we'll go from there. Guys, I'm sorry we can't see Richard. We don't know where he's gone.
Just to say, I can see him.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can hear him, but he's not come up on the video, obviously. So.
Yeah, can you guys still not hear me?
Richard, yeah, we can still hear you, so just stay there, Richard, that's fine. But what we're going to do is we'll just probably round this off, to be honest, because we have spoken a lot, we've done it quite quick. What players to watch, Richard, for Manchester United?
Definitely Lukaku up front. He's got a great goal-scoring record against us, and obviously with Rashford coming back from his 3-game ban, he'll be dangerous. Sanchez has been poor this season, but you know he's always got something in him. Maybe Jesse Lingard as well. But I honestly think we have to get at their centre backs. Smalling and Lindelof have been poor this season, so let's go for it and hit them on I think on the break, soak up as much pressure as possible. But they still have Lukaku's the main one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Luke? Who's the man we need to watch?
I forgot about Lukaku.
Yeah, and to be honest, see until you said that, Richard, I forgot about him. And it really worries me.
The stupid thing about me forgetting about Lukaku is that he always fucking scores against us. So I don't know why. It didn't last season. I think we drew 0-0, didn't we, at home? We scored against us in the away leg. But do you know what? Actually, I'm going to say this. I think Pogba will be the one to look out for, because even though he's had all this bad drama and stuff this week, and his name's being dragged through the press and by Mourinho and all that other stuff, I guarantee he turns up against us. If you just stick 2 fingers up at Mourinho, I would just say, I'm the man here. You know, everyone else is criticising me for being a typical modern footballer. I guarantee he does his thing. But hopefully Rice can have in his pocket like he has quite a few top players in the past. So, yeah, the Pogba for me. But, yeah, I don't want to worry about it that much.
Suppose player to watch, Richard, for West Ham. You know, Arnautovic is back. Who's the man of the hour? Is there any players, you know, let's give a mention here to Snodgrass. And I'm going to call him your man, Richard, because you always stick up for him quite a lot.
So do I.
Yeah, I do. You know, because I love a trier, and I do see some qualities in him, and that a lot of fans don't. I know he's not the finished article that's got so much quality, and I don't think he should be starting. But I just think that people have slagged him off in the past, and it hasn't really been justified in my opinion. I thought he put in a good shift in the cup, got his 2 goals, and I mean if Yarmolenko buries that cross that he puts in, then suddenly we're all praising him. So. Yeah, it's a difficult one. he's for me not quite good enough to be starting when you've got Yarmolenko and Anderson playing in a similar position. But definitely someone that can come off the bench and put in some good balls. Yeah, Anderson and Yarmolenko are the other threats for me in terms of our side. Obviously, Arnie's the main boy, the big bastard. But Yarmolenko's got some quality in him, and Anderson's showed what he could do against Chelsea. Some tricky stuff from him. So we've got threats all over the pitch.
We do. Perez is off the mark. We need to remember Perez scored a goal against Macclesfield. Doesn't matter if it's against lower league position. He has got his goal, which is probably needed. We've got Hernandez probably coming back from his glandular fever. But I think we need to put a special mention out to a lot of the youth players that played in the week and will be challenging for that bench spot. Diangana, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, stepped up against League Two, but he's still really young. But what a performance he put in against Macclesfield. Man of the match performance. Look, do these players have a sniff in to get into the squad at the weekend?
Yeah. And I'm mainly going to go with Diangana here now because he scored 2 goals last night. Apparently he looked really up for it. I didn't see the game in all this glory. I just saw highlights of the goals and what have you. But I think if you're going to pick one player, you pick a player who's got the confidence to not only play and play well, but got the man of the match and got 2 goals. I know that the level of opposition is totally different, but if you can imagine, if we're anywhere near getting a result against United, even if it's something like 2-1 down or something, or maybe even 3-1 down, I'm not saying we will be, but I'm saying in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and you bring a lad like that on, who's got no fear, who's going to take it to the opposition, and even though he have a shot, the guy's nowhere, but still give the opposition something to think about, that raises the level a little bit. And I think when you get a youth player like that who's full of confidence, it gives the whole other team a boost. So I think that, if any of them are going to get a chance, I think Diangana should be rewarded because, look, he'd done the business last night, I know we were 6-0 up at the time anyway, but it's still good to get 2 goals on the score sheet yourself as well, isn't it? So.
Absolutely. Right, okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Richard, while you're still there, I have been seeing you nipping in and out of the camera, but you are still here in the audio. What's your prediction?
Weird night tonight.
What is your prediction?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, just lost the audio for a second there. I'm going to be positive here. I'm going to go 2-1 win. I think we will concede, probably to Lukaku, but I just think that United are in a really bad patch at the moment. The team morale probably won't be great. We have to make the most of that. So I'm going to go 2-1 on Arnautovic to get both goals.
Excellent. Take that. Look.
I'm going to do something I haven't done this year and say we're going to win 2-0 with a clean sheet.
Get in there, Leaky boy.
I've got
Good
to
boy.
keep my faith. I've got to keep my faith with a Fabianski that's absolutely on fire. Yeah. I think this will be a major test because it'll be a test on the defence to see if they can keep Chelsea out as much as they did. He did kind of thing at the weekend. So 2-0. I think Yarmolenko has to make up for his header miss in the Chelsea game. That will be playing on his mind, so we definitely want to get on the score sheet to make up for it. And you know what? I think if Diangana does come on, I think he'll maybe get a goal again. I'm just hoping, but I'm going to go for a Snodgrass goal from a free kick because, to be honest with you, he's well renowned for his free kicks at all the clubs he's played for. But he hasn't fucking scored one for us, has he? So this is difficult, and I'm hoping that he finally changes it around and does the bizzo. So yeah, I'm going to say I know there's 3 goal scorers there, but if either Diangana or Snodgrass. But 2-0 West Ham, clean sheet. Have it.
Get in there.
Good man. And I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to West Ham. We're going to continue our positive run and not concede because Diop and Balbuena are going to smash to pieces Rashford and Lukaku, and we are going to
love to see it. Wouldn't you just love to see Balbuena just go through Lukaku? Yeah. Just spinning up, down and falling on his fat arse.
But
sorry, carry on.
I'm going for a Felipe Anderson magic goal, and it'll do him the world of good. So that has been our preview. So apologies for a bit of the lag on tonight. Apologies for the disappearing act that is Richard all the way from South Africa. remember,
he's looking a bit worse for wear actually, Rich. A bit hungover, so we
Yeah.
done all the viewing.
make sure
Sorry.
Make sure you are subscribing to our channel. I'm going to hit you with all this stuff just now. Supporters Club, massive, great day out. You have to become a member, and then you come in there, and you're literally minutes walk from the stadium. Good banter. You have a good laugh with all the West Ham fans. Music, food, beer, Jaeger bombs, fruit juices, water, whatever you want.
Easy.
It's
Easy,
good,
sir.
just good banter. Of course, we're partnering up with Umbro and of course the Red Man of London. So if you go up to the Red Man of London and you say to him "I'm United," you'll get a discount on your rib rolls as well. Nothing else really, lads, to go on. That's been a nice preview. So he's been Luke. The guy in the middle who's not there anymore has been Richard. I've been Anton, and come on, you Irons.
Oh.